Whew. Okay, live. Hey y'all. Let's make sure we are fully live. So I usually get started right away, so I'm gonna let a couple people get in first. But what was your thoughts on tonight's show? It was a lot. It was definitely a lot. And low key too soon. Low key too soon. Okay, I shared it on Twitter. Let me share it as well. As you come in, please like the video. I don't know if you're like the only person who always watches. I don't know. But I always have one person watching. I do appreciate that. I realize not as many people watch Queen Sugar though. Like, it is like a good show. It's like a bomb show to me. And I don't understand why people don't be watching it. Like, it is traumatic, but it's real. Like, life is traumatic. As a Black person, it's traumatic. I can't even really share this on my story because I could just say like I'm live on YouTube. Let's talk the show. Yeah, as you guys come in, like the video. Like I said, we're gonna discuss tonight's show. It was pretty doggone real. Let's talk about tonight's episode of Queen. All right, what's up, y'all? It's your girl Kimra. You're watching Kimra Music TV, and I'm here to review Queen Sugar, Season 5, Episode 6. But anyway, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe down below to my channel and comment as we go through this review. Like the video, share the video, and yeah, we're gonna talk about the show, and it's gonna get heavy. So if you feel like you need to click off, feel like you need to pause and come back, or George Floyd's murder. What I did not anticipate is how they were going to like really take time on each different perspective on how this murder has affected everyone, right? So Rarla is on their honeymoon. They've gone away. They're like near the water or something. They're enjoying each other. And I'm like blushing watching them because I'm like, they finally done got together. So happy, super duper happy for them. But the happiness is short lived because we see Charlie first wake up to this news of George Floyd's murder. Okay, so she turns on the news. Then we see Micah, right? And so there's already like two different perspectives, two different aspects, like flowing. Like you see this more peaceful Martin Luther King side with this more radical Malcolm X side. And you're kind of like, I don't know which way to feel, right? And I immediately was like, I don't know which way to feel. There's no way that you just don't know about the George Floyd situation, but for coverage, I can't even get my words together because I just can't even clean it up. For coverage sake, we know that George Floyd is a Black man last year who was killed in the Twin Cities, I believe, by police officer Derek Chauvin, right? He was accused of paying in this store with a counterfeit $20 bill. And so the police got him, restrained him, and had him on the ground. And Derek Chauvin had his knee on his neck for over 8 minutes, right? It was all on video. And we heard this man like calling out for his mother and like clearly like was not gonna go anywhere, right? And then there were other cops who were kneeling like on the rest of his body, Okay. So there's these different aspects that happen, these different conversations that happen because you're like in broad daylight, on video, knee on the neck for all of this time, 4 cops to restrain this one person. It's just a counterfeit $20 bill. It's not like he's murdered someone or like anything like that, right? Just like in the recent days, we've seen people who have literally murdered people be walked out of, walked in handcuffs, stopped at Burger King, all of that. So it's a very, very sensitive subject, okay? Especially when you think about Micah, who's had dealings with the police before, and all of his status and who his daddy was, and all those things did not matter in that moment, right? So yeah, let's flow on through, okay? So you have Micah who's angry because he has not had that therapy, has not quite dealt with when he went through the situation itself. You have Charlie who's like has empathy for her son and is saddened by the news, but it's also like this is not how we fight, right? We see these different things happening. I'll talk about that. But Charlie's response is wanting to react responsibly. And we'll talk about how that goes down, right? Nova, good old Nova, she's praying to the ancestors. You know that she is the activist of the family. But I had a problem with how Nova navigated the situation, because while she was not wrong, it was kind of like, but sis, like, how is Calvin the enemy? Like, don't get me wrong, I get it, but I don't get it. I want to save this for later because I want to just kind of roll out everybody's thing right first. You have Hollywood who is angry, seething. He's thinking he's taking it very personally because him and George Floyd were probably, they probably weren't around the same age, but he was closer to his age than Ralph Angel, right? So he's taking it away. Prosper's taking it away. Vi's taking it away. Now Blue has to be given the talk to, right? Ralph Angel and Darla, even though they're on vacation, they still end up being affected by it and taking that one as well. So there's a lot of different aspects. And then you see Calvin like kind of not really cowering, but he's kind of trying to figure out like his place in all of this. Like there's definitely some white guilt popping off, but then it's also too like, where do I fall in this whole thing? Okay, so I want to discuss Nova's situation first, okay? And let's just kind of get it all out there to where who's an activist, right? So there's already layers there that they just not gonna vibe with, okay? But although he's a white cop, he has, taken the steps to, understand all of his privilege, all of the things like with him just watching or standing by and allowing things to happen, he still had a part in the different brutality and the things that went on, right? So there's that aspect of it. So the issue that I have is Nova has decided to be with this man, even though he was married, right? They ended up getting together anyway, really trying to make it a go, like be serious, have this house together. And on top of that, she knew about the situation. See, I'm getting loud because I'm getting upset. She knew about the situation with him and the young boy, right? When, like 20 years ago when he was a cop, right? She knew about that situation. Okay, she knew about that, still forgave him, got with him, all together, all of that. And then even within that, the conversations that they have, seeing him around her friends, him educating himself, him, admitting that he does not have the knowledge or he has this white privilege. And because while we understand that white privilege is a thing, most white people, a lot of white people are just now having this awakening. It's not to say like they just, like they don't know that they got it or whatever it is. It's like, if you grow up in that, you don't see it until somebody outside of that shows you, like you have a privilege that I don't have. And because you've had these blinders on, right? So that's kind of where my aggravation comes from. This situation happened with George Floyd and it was super messed up. Super messed up. Okay. So there's one aspect of the racism. There's another aspect of having like empathy for seeing this person killed on national television. There's another aspect of seeing empathy, like having empathy of this person killed on national television, or on this video, and knowing that he's a black man, and all of us feel that, right? Then there's another part, being a cop and understanding like your role in that, who you were as the partner, what you would have done if you would have pulled up, what you would have done as a cop, right? So understanding all these layers, I'm like, Nova, are you getting upset at Calvin bringing up his situation that he's clearly, tried to get past? He's admitted, seniority took a whole type of role in that. These blinders that they had up at that time, right? Like, although you did nothing, that's still you doing something, right? You choosing not to do anything in this role spoke measures. Okay. So when she's not really mad at him per se. Like, she's explaining our side. She's explaining, how Black people are looked at as a monolith, except for success. If somebody, them DC snipers, child, they never let that go, right? All the different things that Black people do is always looked at as like all of us, right? And so that can be good and bad. Mostly is bad because when it's our success, it's not. Which I wouldn't say that too much, because when we have like Oscars, Grammys, like all these different awards, we feel like these celebrities are like distant cousins, right? Anyway, kind of looking at him like, yeah, like you play a role in this because you feel this same type of way. So she's doing this article and she want to interview him because she's like, you know what it's like to just stand by, right? So I want to get your aspect. And I'm like, okay, it's one thing if, he was your neighbor or he was somebody, who was your coworker or a friend and he's staying with you because of the quarantine. And, you can kind of give him the third degree because you just kind of, he just around. But this is your man that you chose to be with. And I'm just like, girl, like, you don't have to do this. You don't have, it's clearly too much, because every time something happens, it's going to dredge up a bunch of pain. And I totally feel her. Because you can't even super trust that he just sincerely just had these innocent intentions. Like, you don't even fully know, like, because in most situations, they did come up with blinders, but then also in other situations, it's like, you still know that this person was being treated wrong. Humanity and empathy is still a thing. Even if it was going to cost you your job, you should have spoke up. So the Nova situation kind of has me love this at Calvin and having so much aggravation towards him. I do think it's real. I definitely think interracial relationships have been tried, because it's like, you don't understand my experience and you need to get educated on my experience. And, them being like that other side, having all of the things that they came up with and all of, I don't know if Nova and Calvin gonna make it. I just don't know if they're gonna make it, because it's just like, it's always something and everything is just be so hard all the time. Like racial stuff, politics that bleed over into racial stuff, religious stuff, like it's just too much. It's just too much. Conversation. Charlie's saying, you can't drive out hate with hate, you drive out hate with love. And I'm a strong believer. I don't know where it's at, but I have like Martin Luther King stickers everywhere, all of that, all of this, all of that. But I had to self-reflect and I had to think back to last year around this time. And I can say that I don't think this movement would have been as big as it became if there was not violence, if there was not rioting and looting. While I understand the impact of peaceful protests, right? I just don't know if it would have hit the same if it was just peaceful the whole entire time. Like, I understand people were upset. Like, there was just so many different things happening, right? You had Killer Mike and T.I. come out, like, stop tearing up, Atlanta. You had people in, is it Minneapolis? I think Minneapolis. People were just upset because our hearts were broken, right? To see this happen on national television, nothing done. like just watching, just letting it happen, right? Um, so I understood, Micah being like, yeah, burn it down. Like it's going down. They deserve, because you don't do this type of stuff, right? Then he has this rage because of what he's gone through, and it's just not right. But then Charlie being like, well, we don't take the law in our own hands. We do what needs to be, done in a peaceful way. We protest. We do, we do all the things. We make the signs. I just don't know. Because you have those people who do that and then nothing happens. Nothing gets done about their food and they get their food for free. Versus the person who's just like, yeah, like there was a hair in my food, but it's fine. Like, it's just like, which one is going to get the results? You know what I'm saying? Like, even though it's pretty brash and can be a lot, it's just like, it's real. Like, a lot of people don't move unless there's a fire, like unless something is being done to bring about, to strike some type of passion, rage, or fear. And it's just messed up because you shouldn't have to do all that. Seeing a person being killed on national television, crying out for his mom, and he's a grown man over 6 feet tall, that should be enough to spark outrage in everyone. It should do something to the heart. It should do something to the heart where you just understand, like, it don't matter if this person look like, I don't have to know this person to understand, like, it's just wrong. It's just wrong. So, Charlie ends up going to the protest that Micah has helped arrange there in their town. And although Micah, did I say Micah? Yeah, Micah. Although Charlie was apprehensive, she still ended up going with him. They out in the streets, they got their masks on and they about to get it on and pop it. That conversation there, I will always go back and forth. I feel like balance is very much needed. You need a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You always need a little bit of sweet with the spicy. You need all of the tools to bring about change. You do. You need those people that'll ride out and get rowdy and do all of the things. But then you need those people that's going to be able to sensibly sit down at the table and bring about change. I think it all is connected. It's just doggone sad that you even have to have a table to come and sit down at, when it should just be unity. It should just be equality off tops. Okay. So let me move on. So Hollywood's dealing with it, right? He's called Ralph Angel. He's letting him know. He's helping to board up Vi's place because y'all saw people was tearing businesses up. Okay. And Vi comes across this gun in Hollywood's toolbox. And Hollywood's whole thing is like, everybody's talking about the way that George Floyd died. Nobody's talking about the way that he lived, right? He had children. Did he have a wife? Did he have a girlfriend? What did he do? Like all of these things, right? And the thing about all of these people that we've lost, people that have been murdered through injustice and profiling and racism, you don't get to hear about all that, right? I think I follow Breonna Taylor's sister, and it's just always like so weird to me when she posts like old videos of them hanging out and stuff. It's just like this person so quickly became like this national figure, and I don't even think she knew. Like when these things happen, the best thing that you can do is like help this person be remembered and be revered, right? Because their life matters. So, the thing that Hollywood's going through, I'm just like, he's right. Like we all kept, replaying this death in our head. And he's like thinking about like all these people that he left behind, the way that he lived, the way that he did not plan to die that day, especially the way that he did die, calling out for his mother. His mother has passed away, like all of these things. And then Hollywood has his mom who's just passed. So like he's in this like feeble state of mind where he's like understanding, like if this was me, like he's fully like personifying like this whole experience. And I think Vi can kind of see like it's about to take a turn. Like we see in the upcoming episodes, he's going to start drinking. And that was a year ago. Like the Ahmaud Arbery case. I remember walking my dog being like, okay, we're gonna take this walk because we're remembering Ahmaud, and I like was emotional on the walk, and like there was a guy walking towards me. He was a white guy, and I like immediately just walked across the street, and I got emotional. And I'm just like, this is a lot, bro. It's just a lot. It's just a lot because like it just shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen. So just to take a break from the show, like being a teacher when I'm teaching students because we just wrapped up Black History Month, like a book that covered the civil rights movement, right? And it's so funny how are they Gen? I guess they're Gen Z still. They have no, like the same way Blue was when they were having this conversation, they are so just like, but why? Why is there hate? But why treat them different because, they're Asian, or treat them different because they're Jamaican or Nigerian? Or yes, I understand that Black people aren't just Black. Like there's Nigerian, there's Jamaican. Like they have so much knowledge. They know so many things. And yet they're still so innocent. They're so innocent where they're just like, but why though? I don't understand the hate. And I'm like, up there as a teacher, like just explaining, like, it's just the way it is. I felt like Ralph Angel in that moment, like, it's just the way it is. Today, I told the kids, why was I telling them this? Why was I telling them this? I don't remember the reason why, but today I was talking and I was like, oh, it was about the Stop Asian Hate. Because we talked to the kids about that a little bit. But I said, everybody's not going to like you. And sometimes there's nothing you can do about it. It can literally be because of how you look, because of how you talk, because of how you act. It can literally be for no reason at all. That does not take anything away from you and what you have to offer. As a matter of fact, you should use it to propel you, okay, past all of that hate. But you do need to understand that hate is going to be out there literally for nothing that you can do to help change it, right? So I did ask the question, like, what do you guys think we can do to help stop like Asian hate, like hate just period, right? And a couple of them were like, well, you can tell them to stop. And so the whole class is like, no, you can't tell people to stop because they're not going to listen. And I was like, well, let me just point this out to you. And I feel like this came straight from God because sometimes when I get in front of these kids, I just be so shocked. Like they really think this. And as a teacher, like if I don't reverse it, they will go on thinking that. So I said, well, if you feel like it's not right and you speak up, and then the person next to you feels like it's not right and they speak up, and the person next to them feels like it's not right and they speak up. Now instead of just one, you got a whole group of like 3 to 5 people against this one person, right? So then you feel backed up, you feel supported, the message is more, translated better, and like it becomes more powerful. That is unity, right? So not focusing on, okay, we're gonna all get together because we women, which is still a good thing, but understanding that no matter what my experience is, having empathy for your experience and understanding like you're the one being attacked right now, you're the one we got to do something about right now, right? It was powerful, child. Y'all had to be there, okay? But the kids like kind of understood, like they was just like, yeah, like no real talk. Like even though in reality, like if I'm being bullied because of this whole snitch culture, they're not gonna come run and tell me. Now a lot of them do because they know I got it back. But even though with this whole snitch culture, they not gonna do that. I do think that we kind of drove home this point of understanding, like we're better together, we're stronger together. So hopefully, I'm gonna keep saying it till I'm blue in the face. Finally, this talk with Blue. Okay, it's so crazy to me that a lot of families don't have this talk. When you think about equality, like one thing you'll realize about equality is a lot of people don't want it, to be honest. A lot of people think men and women are not the same. And I don't know how. I mean, obviously we have a lot of differences, but as far as like equality, I don't know how you could quantify a man as being greater. Okay. I understand that that's where we came from. To be here with all this knowledge though and still think that. Mm-mm. So um, understanding that in our world there has been a large white male influence, right? And so a lot of the things that we've been taught, a lot of the things that we know, a lot of the customs that we have been skewed by this experience. So when you think about like this talk, the talk, if you're not a minority, if you don't have any type of struggle, because even white people of a certain class, they're not going to have it as bad as Black people. Okay. Even in most cases, dark skinned Black people, because you have a whole different experience. And then in that, the dark skinned Black male, a whole different experience, right? So when Ralph Angel and Darla decide to come home early so they can have this talk with Blue, I knew it was going to be hard to watch because Blue is literally, we love him because of his purity. We love him because of how, articulate he is, but he's also very innocent. Very innocent. So when they come home and they're in tears and he calls George Floyd Mr. Floyd, it just like my heart was just like, yeah, I mean, he's like, what, 7 or 8, and he's showing you like the innocence, right? Like I saw that something happened. I hear people saying Black Lives Matter, but I don't really understand. And so, they're explaining to him that you will be stopped by the cops just because you're a Black man. Okay, you will be. And, Blue's like, what if I don't do anything wrong? Like, I'm not going to be stopped. Like, that's always our thought, right? Like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't do anything wrong, so nothing's going to happen. But the thing about that talk is we have that talk because we understand that it's not because you're doing anything wrong. No, I know you're not going to do anything wrong. That's not it. I'm equipping you with this tool because I know you will be stopped just because of how you look, something that you can't even change. So now, even within that, you can't run, okay? You can't get disrespectful or irate or get angry. Do not, just like when they see us, do not just stay there and start talking to them. Call your parents immediately, call a trusted adult immediately, right? Know your rights. Just all of the things to this 8-year-old. Back because I'm trying not to get too emotional about it because it is, like I said, it's very fresh. I deal with kids on an everyday basis. I talk to kids every day, and I know that most kids don't understand all this. They don't understand all of it. They have the same beliefs as their parents because those are the beliefs in their household, right? But at the end of the day, they do think like putting your knee on somebody's neck for all of this time, whether you're a cop or not, is wrong. Okay? It's not until they get into these groups where parents or relatives or whatever, or different things on TikTok or on the news or even in the White House before, right? Where they get this rhetoric that's like, oh yeah, you had it coming. Just like that dude at the gas station. It's just like, humanity and just plain old empathy understands that don't nobody need to have it coming for a counterfeit $20 bill. It's just not that deep. It's just not that deep. Have we healed from the killing of George Floyd? No. Matter of fact, I believe they're all in. Oh, that's another thing too. George Floyd's case, they end up settling. And I don't have all the details of the case just because it's like the pandemic still to be going on, and it's now reached a year. Like, you know how and I don't know because as a teacher, I have been waiting for like my summer to chill, right? But my first full year as a teacher would be this year. But I was a teacher last year, went into the summer, but the pandemic was going on. So I didn't get to like reap the benefits of having like this break. But you know how like even in like a basketball game, soccer game, whatever, there's halftime. There's time to like take a break. Okay, there's a vacation you go on, maybe you have spring break, you have certain breaks or times where you go away, you forget about everything, you come on back. Like, this is a whole lot, heavy load, we put it down, we come back, pick it back up. We did not have that because we just been battling for this whole year in this pandemic. We've been buying extra, we've been staying indoors, we've been wearing the mask, we've been doing all these things, worried about coronavirus. And then on top of that, all these murders that have happened, and understanding like, yes, America definitely did change, because in that moment, it was like everybody had a chance to sit down and see. Like, you saw lots, all different races, but I can't compare situations, okay? I do know that that video is seethed into my mind, and I understand that when there's a video, like Ahmaud Arbery's case, those videos, they just hit, right? And it's very traumatic, very traumatic. So yeah, that was tonight's episode. It doesn't seem like it's gonna get any better, because it didn't, and in real life, it didn't get any better. And I understand like why a lot of people don't watch Queen Sugar, but I also don't understand why you don't, because it's like, it's a lot of stuff. It's very like beautifully shot and very heartfelt, and it's like very Black and rich and cultured, and like, but at the same time, it's very real, very real, very real, very real. So yeah, I'm sorry, y'all. I just saw these comments. I don't know. Yeah, you should watch the show. You should watch the show. It's just a lot, but it could be a lot on the brain. It could be a whole lot. Trust. But anyway, that was the show. You guys comment what you thought. I'm gonna watch SpongeBob or something else after all that, because it, like I said, it was just a lot. A whole lot. Child. Anyway, I'm Kim Ray. This is Kim Ray Music TV. And you guys comment your thoughts, subscribe, and it's a whole lot. Sorry, y'all. I'm looking at these comments. I'm trying to figure out if any of y'all are my students. Y'all like to be all on my stuff. But anyway, I'll see y'all later. Bye.